football at Commonwealth Stadium. Fresh off the victories over the Lions and Stampeders, the Blue Bombers bring a perfect 6-0 record into Edmonton, where it's been almost 3 years since the Elks have won at home. Tonight, another chance to snap the streak and slay a giant at the exact same time. I don't know if you believe in trap games, but considering what Winnipeg's been through and what they got coming up against Calgary, they got to stay focused here, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do, and I think Winnipeg is a team that's done a very good job of that throughout their 2-year run as Grey Cup champions, so we expect more of the same. As for Edmonton, Taylor Cornelius makes his second start of the season at quarterback, undefeated so far in 2022, so he certainly looks to keep that going. But in order to do that, he'll have to have success against this guy, a guy Cornelius describes as the quarterback of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense, Mr. Adam Bighill.
Mike O'Shea, 9-8 in his career versus Edmonton. They were 4-3 on the road last year, perfect 3-0 so far on the road this season. And on the other side, you've got Chris Jones, 7-5 versus Winnipeg in his career, 0-2 at home as a head coach since he returned to Edmonton. And obviously looking to snap a long slide here in Friday Night Football. 1,014 days since Edmonton last won at home. Many would view this one as a significant upset if they pull it off tonight against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, coming off huge victories, impressive victories against the BC Lions and a thrilling finish against the Calgary Stampeders just last week. Janarian Grant, one of the most dangerous return men in the league, locked and loaded, ready to go. Edmonton won the toss, deferred, and Winnipeg will have the ball first to start the game, and we are underway on Friday Night Football in Edmonton. A high short kick. This will fly out of bounds, and a flag on the Friday Night Football in Edmonton. A high short kick. This will fly out of bounds, and a flag on the first play of the game as Grant never had a chance to return that ball. This is where Zach Collaros a good start.
Unsafe. Illegal kick out of bounds.
And certainly
Edmonton,
much talk
46.
about the potential for Zach Collaros to repeat
30 yards
as the league's most outstanding player. He's been absolutely fantastic, and I think gets better and better with every game he plays in a Winnipeg Blue Bomber uniform.
He looks more comfortable every single time you watch him play, and this year, maybe because of the running game not being what it was in the past, he's been making a lot of plays, getting out of the pocket, and yeah, he's impressed. And of course, the team overall, perfect 6-0 on the season. Thank you very much for joining us here in Edmonton. We are underway. Winnipeg, great field position to start this game. Yeah! And they will hand it off as we take a look at this Winnipeg offense game. Yeah! And they will hand it off as we take a look at this Winnipeg offense, brought to you by Expedia.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on this Blue Bomber offensive line. Former first-rounder Jeff Gray out of the University of Manitoba starts at left guard for them. Of course, many eyes, you heard the panel talk about him. Carlton Agadosi, a big CFL debut for him last week. Huge target. Look to see what he can do for an encore.
4 yards on that first down carry. Grady Oliveira averaging 3.2 yards per carry on the season. 4 receivers to the right for Collaros. Pressure coming. Stays on his feet. Pressure early. Now he's going to throw one down the field, and it falls incomplete. He was looking for Dalton Schoen, the first-year Bomber, and he almost got back to that, but Collaros under pressure early here in Edmonton.
Yeah, and you're going to see right from the start, Edmonton is loaded up at the line of scrimmage here, and Winnipeg's trying to sort out who's coming. They got a man coming free off that right side, front side of the play, so Collaros sees it coming. He's able to dodge that one. No completion, but at least avoids the sack.
Jawan Taylor almost had his second sack of the season. And this will be taken by Carter at his 5. There's multiple flags as he eventually takes it out of bounds around for him as he gets back into the Canadian Football League. Taylor Cornelius, like you said, unbeaten on the season.
That's right. Taylor Cornelius wasn't always pretty, but one of the things that Taylor Cornelius brings to the table, and we've heard this about this young man since last year, is his calm. And, you know, Jamie Elizondo said it last year, Chris Jones said it this year, is there something about his personality, Jones said it this year, is there something about his personality, we're not going to try and compare him as a quarterback, certainly not at this point, but in his personality, that reminds him of Ricky Ray, just very calm in terms of his demeanor, both off the field, on the field, and I think that's a positive thing for this team at this time.
Wearing number 15, like Ricky Ray did here as well. Not great field position for Cornelius. backed up here inside the 5. Winnipeg started on their own 50, so a field position advantage early in this one for Winnipeg as we take a look at what Cornelius is working with offensively.
Yeah, taking a look.
Position advantage early in this one for Winnipeg as we take a look at what Cornelius is working with offensively.
Yeah, taking a look at the rest of this group. Tony Washington, the veteran, lines up at left tackle. We'll keep an eye on the matchup between he and Willie Jefferson from time to time. Elks electing to go Canadian at the running back position. They picked up Malik Irons from Hamilton this week. He'll be backed up. Malik Irons from Hamilton this week. He'll be backed up at that spot by Jamel Lyles, the former BC Lion.
And right now in the game, standing to the left of Cornelius, is Litre. A couple yards on first down, 2nd and 8 here for Cornelius, and some flags on the play.
Procedure, Edmonton, number 65. We'll go back half the distance. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Mark Cordy, who's going to back his team up a little bit further. First year with Edmonton, coming over after 3 years to start his career in Ottawa, where he's the 4th overall pick in 2018.
Yeah, coming home for Mark Cordy, Spruce Grove, Alberta. Yeah, coming home for Mark Cordy, Spruce Grove, Alberta native, University of Alberta product.
The clock should be at 12:53, and the time will start on the snap. Timer, please put the clock to 12:53, please. Thank you.
Tack a few seconds back on to that game clock. Kenny Lawler in a matchup here against a team that he had a ton of success with over the last few seasons in Winnipeg. Had a nice week last week with Cornelius at Lawler, and he's got it for a first down outside the 20. That was perfect timing as Kenny Lawler steps up. Boy, does he want to have a big game here.
Yeah, no doubt, facing his old teammates. Nothing but love for the guys with whom he won a couple of Grey Cups. But he wants to be successful. Left side of your screen, cutting towards the middle. Tough throw here as you're going to see the free safety, Malcolm Thompson's coming downhill on this one all the way. Kenny Lawler just manages to get the body in front, box him out, secure the catch for his quarterback.
Some breathing room now for Edmonton, and they'll hand it off to Irons, and he takes it for a decent chunk as we take a look at this Winnipeg defense.
Yeah, no Jackson Jeffcoat this week. That means Cedric Wilcox will get the start at defensive end opposite Willie Jefferson. In the linebacking core, Malik Clemens draws in. They've had some injuries at the will linebacker position. Kyrie Wilson is out, Jesse Briggs is out, so Clemens, the former Elk, comes into the lineup, and Demario Houston continues to play that boundary corner spot. Has come up with a couple of big plays in recent weeks.
16 tackles, 2 interceptions. One of them sealed the game against Calgary. Cornelius has this batted, and it's going to be intercepted by Dietrich Nichols. And Nichols and the Bombers, the defense steps up early for Nichols. That's his first interception of the season, and in true Bomber fashion, it's another deflection. The former Elk, Clements, gets a hand on it, and it bounces right into the waiting arms of Nichols, and the Bombers are in business when we buy this defense to start this football game.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who's in the lineup. They're all getting it done. Keep an eye on Malik Clemens coming on the blitz. You're going to see Ante Milanovic Litre steps up to take him, but gives a little bit too much ground. That allows Clemens, you see, using the hands to push the blocker back, collapse the pocket a little bit, gets in close, able to affect that pass with the deflection to Dietrich Nichols for the INT.
Nichols was an all-star last year, had 3 interceptions. As I mentioned, that was his first of the year. Kolaris now starting inside the 30, a shot towards the end zone immediately, and is that held on to? It is! Holy smokes, what a catch! Rasheed Bailey, its first touchdown of the season.
A fantastic catch by Bailey in tight coverage, but could the throw from Zach Kolaris have been any more pinpoint perfect? Take a look at the touch on this one. Good protection, lots of time, defenders converging.
I'm not sure how Tristan Decoux didn't get a body part on that ball. Looked like it almost went right through him.
Dropped just over top of his left shoulder.
Rasheed Bailey 18 catches on the season coming in, just 166 yards, and had not had a touchdown. And Winnipeg, you know, after they turn it over, attack right away, and it pays off.
Yeah, Bailey, the guy being looked at to have a big season. Going to see him as the inside slot in motion. Stem to the inside, working towards the corner. Yeah, Deku closing, but just a split second late. Getting a hand up on this one as Collaros drops it in there just perfectly.
Held on to nicely by Bailey. 5 touchdowns last year, but it was working in the slot regularly last year. With Darvin Adams moving on, they've moved him out wide, and you won't notice he was in the slot there and made a play.
God is good.
Yeah, big one there for Bailey, and good to see him get going. Greg Ellingson out of the lineup, by the way, for Edmonton this week. So you'll see others stepping up to pick up the slack a little bit.
10th touchdown pass of the year for Zach Collaros to go along with just 3 interceptions. Now this will be taken by Carter. Waits, tries to cut it back, and is wrapped up just outside the 25 here in his Elks debut as Cornelius comes out. And, you know, they're in a familiar position. They were trailing last week and managed to come back.
Yeah, big fourth quarter comeback for Edmonton last week in Montreal. You see the numbers, the bottom of the screen there for Taylor Cornelius. You know, not a lot of wow factor in terms of the numbers, but there are a couple of plays he made on their last couple of drives where that poise, that sense of calm that he has really stood out, and I thought made a difference for them in that situation.
He's got a 22-yard completion and an interception so far in this game. Some pressure here, he gets it off, and that'll be a completion just outside the 35 as he goes back to Kenny Lawler for his second catch of the game.
A nice route combination here with the running back swinging out of the backfield. You see the pull on the defenders toward the sideline that opens up that hook inside for Kenny Lawler.
Short yardage push ahead. Looked like there might have been a little bit of a bobble on the way. And this will depend on where that ball is spotted. Is it just a little bit short? Well, 6'5" Cornelius.
Yeah, wasn't pretty on the exchange, but at least it was fumbled in the right direction.
Friendly bounce there for Cornelius. Sets up 1st and 10 on the Edmonton 37. Leetry stands into his left. Pressure coming. Dumps it off over the top. And that'll be pushed ahead outside the 45-yard line as Edmonton tries to get something developed again. And there's Lawler, 3rd catch of the game for him, and what a season he put together in the last 2 years. Really good with Winnipeg.
Yeah, and really a breakout 2021, as you alluded to, Dustin.
Over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns in his all-star season last year, which led to a big payday here with Edmonton. Going to see a few of the boys. There's a hug for the coach.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Kenny Lawler this week. You know, a lot of times there may be a feeling that a guy is going to leave an old team with some kind of animosity or, you know, something to prove, whatever. You know, for Kenny Lawler, a big part of this, yeah, it's financial, but it's also looking for a challenge somewhere else too, helping another team become champions.
Cornelius staying on his feet and actually picking up some positive yardage when it looked like there might not be anything on that play. Lawler, as you mentioned, 40 yards on 3 catches so far in this game, and that's what he said. You know, it's another challenge. You could stay there and be the hunted, but he also said, you know, it's a good payday. Got to look out for himself at this point too, and there's no denying it. He comes into this game 5th in the league in receiving yards coming into the week, and that's with 3 different quarterbacks already this season.
Yeah.
Not an ideal situation.
In fact.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, including Kai Loxley, who doesn't actually have a start, but spent some time under center.
2nd and 8 for Cornelius. Thought about a deep shot. Now gets free again. The big fella's going to rumble. He's got a first down and more inside the 50. And despite his massive frame at 6'5" and 232 pounds, he certainly can move for a big man.
Yeah, and this is another part of his game that Chris Jones alluded to as being very underrated, is the athleticism of Taylor Cornelius. And it's a classic thing with a big, tall guy, is he never really looks like he's moving that fast, but those strides are chewing up some yards.
The Elks marching a little bit offensively down inside the Winnipeg 50. They work from the 49 here. He's going to be throwing again. And that one got there just in time. Was it held on to? Trying to get Caleb Hawley involved in the game. And he does.
Hawley, the former Saskatchewan Rough Rider. Everybody's just hooking it up as you see the DBs sitting back around that first down marker. Cornelius quite literally taking what the defense gives him with that call.
He's 4 of 5. The only blemish, deflected interception. Now on the Winnipeg 44, Cornelius thought about going deep a couple of times. Now he's out to his right, looking for a block, staying on his feet, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. But this time, Winnipeg was eventually able to track him down, and that'll bring up third down here in Edmonton.
Yeah, a combination of good coverage and a rush that never really allowed Cornelius to get set at any spot. Here you see he has to slide right, has to move out of the pocket, got to duck back inside. He's looking downfield the whole way, but there's just never really an opportunity for him to get his feet set and throw the ball.
Did manage to move the ball down the field and set up a long field goal attempt here from Sergio Castillo. His long on the year is 47. This one will be outside of 50 on the right hash. 51 yards for Castillo to get Edmonton on the board, and the former Bomber knocks it home deep. That's a big kick for Castillo and the Elks to get some points here early in this game.
Yeah, it certainly is. Get that confidence going, keep the game close early on.
Edmonton. Trevor Bomber gets the Elks on the board with his first field goal of the year beyond 50. Wasn't the only thing he picked up tonight here in Edmonton.
Yeah, gets that Grey Cup ring from his stretch run with the Bombers last season. Happy to have that, admiring it. You know, maybe brought him a little luck. He came into this game 0 for 2 from 50 plus. Hits his first shot from beyond the 50 to get the Elks on the board here tonight.
Now 16 of 20 on the year is Castillo. Winnipeg will start it again from their own 40. Handoff. Oliveira right up the middle. And that's a nice pickup against this Edmonton starting defense.
And looking at this group, a new face at defensive tackle. Keyshawn Lucier South makes his CFL debut tonight. We'll keep an eye on Adam Konar at the weak side linebacker spot. Big interception for him last week. And in the secondary, people changing sides of the ball again. Last time we saw Raphael Leonard, he was lined up at receiver for the Elks. He gets to start at corner here tonight.
2nd and 1. This will be pushed ahead. It looked like the initial push was enough for a first down before they yanked Drew Brown back to the line of scrimmage. That'll be a first down for Winnipeg, and the offense will stay on the field.
Big bodies head out. Receivers come back in with mission successfully accomplished by Drew Brown in the short yardage unit.
Dwayne had mentioned Leonard getting onto the defensive side of the ball for an Elks defense that has brought in a few new faces, getting a little bit healthier as well. Polaris going to look deep again, far side of the field. He's got a man down inside the 30 and eventually forced out of bounds by DeCoux is Dalton Schoen, who continues his big season with Winnipeg.
Dalton Schoen, certainly a first third favorite for Rookie of the Year. He lines up in tight on this one as a tight end. You're going to see him work towards the corner. The nickel linebacker, Jawan Taylor, is on him initially. Taylor falls as he makes the break, leaving Schoen open down the sideline for a big Winnipeg gain.
Collaros 2 of 3 for 66 yards and a touchdown. Nice start to the game for the reigning MOP. He's got trips down wide side to his left. They'll hand it off to Oliveira, who pushes ahead. And a decent pickup on first down, which was huge for Winnipeg against BC a few weeks ago. They really established the run in the first quarter against the Lions, and it really dictated how that game went the rest of the way.
Yeah, it certainly does. And obviously, I'm a big advocate of the run game, the physical play. Set the tone, but I mean, it sets up so many other things for you offensively, including making your pass protection a little bit easier to accomplish when you've got that defense back on their heels. You've worn them out physically a little bit, and you're keeping them honest, right? When they know that it's not going to be pass, 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 they can't just pin their ears back.
Nice start for Oliveira. 3 carries for 19 yards. Now he hops over to the left side of Collaros. Zach looks to his left, throws to his left towards the end zone for Stone. Oh, almost had a one-hander, but couldn't haul it in. It falls incomplete.
Yeah, great effort there from Dalton Schoen to see the separation that he gets on his defender. Nice protection once again from the O-line and backs. Just unable to pull that one back in towards his body.
Would have been spectacular. You know, they say, oh, you get your hands on it, you can catch it, but I don't know. That was a tough one.
You know, it's amazing. You look at a guy like Schoen athletically, and to think this is a guy who had to start his college career as a walk-on. You'd think so many schools would be after that type of athlete.
Leggio, 20-yard attempt. And he is able to punch that one through as Winnipeg's lead bounces back up to 7. Could have been more. Collaros almost had him. Schoen open in the end zone. Just missed it, but the Bombers still on top. And the Rough Riders catch the action at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on TSN. Interesting rematch brewing there on Sunday between the Argos and the Riders. See exactly what the Riders have from a lineup perspective to bring to the table on Sunday. Cornelius gets the ball at his 40. 3 receivers to his right, throws to his left. It's a low throw, but it is caught and pushed ahead by his new running back, Malik Irons, who just has a glorious opportunity here in Edmonton right now with James Wilder Jr. out.
Yeah, he really does. And, you know, they sort of elect to alter the way they deploy the ratio, putting together some Canadian depth at running back. Ante Milanovic Litre was already here, very capable guy, but adding Jamel Lyles and, of course, Malik Irons to the mix. Irons is a guy came out in the draft same year as Brady Oliveira. They were 2 running backs very much talked about coming out of Division I programs at that time. A lot of comparisons made.
Cornelius in trouble here, and he will be taken down, nowhere to go. It's LB Mack with his 2nd sack of the season.
LB Mack getting an opportunity to take some reps at that defensive end spot. Ian Wilcots with Jackson Jeffcoat out of the lineup. Run fake here, doesn't collapse. Takes care of business on the quarterback, executing his job perfectly.
Cornelius was not sacked last week. Winnipeg able to get home here. 2nd and long. Pressure coming again. He gets it away just in time. Near side. That's a completion for a 1st down as they had just enough into the hands of Mike Jones.
Jones doing a nice job staying with this one right along the sidelines. Going to see Winnipeg shows 3-man rush, brings his secondary blitz off the left edge. As Cornelius stands in, zips this one out. Getting that wide side, wide receiver involved.
Cameraman casualty here.
Cameraman looked to be okay. We're not sure about the cameras yet.
Those things are expensive. That's all I really care about. Here's Cornelius. Kept this one, fooled everybody, and took it over down inside the 45. So he's been using his legs so far in this football game. It's 5th time that he's carried the ball, and he's up over 20 yards.
Yeah, and I have a great appreciation.
that he's carried the ball and he's up over 20 yards.
Yeah, and I have a great appreciation for that. And, you know, we think about the Elks quarterback situation. Trey Ford out of University of Waterloo, their first-round pick, has had a couple of starts for them this season. Big part of what they like is the threat that he presents with his legs. Gives the defense something else to have to defend, to have to think about. So I like Taylor Cornelius using that part of his game to keep the Bombers defense honest.
2nd and 4 for Cornelius this time. Over the middle, completion just shy of what they needed as he goes to Caleb Hawley. And that might bring up a 3rd and inches situation. But Edmonton able to move the ball a little bit on this Winnipeg defense, but it's the Bombers offense that is strike Rashid Bailey with his first touchdown of the season. Defense, but it's the Bombers offense that is strike Rashid Bailey with his first touchdown of the season. Schoen almost had another one. Welcome back to a beautiful Friday night in Edmonton, where the home side trails right now 10-3 against the Bombers. And of course, we got the television call tonight. We got the 2 Winnipeg and Edmonton radios, and then a special radio broadcast tonight as they're broadcasting the game in Cree all across the country. And Wayne Jackson and his play-by-play crew getting the job done tonight. Yeah, and absolutely great opportunity to expose the game to more people. And let's give a little listen to their call.
Tang hi wing ai ta fa no ma a fu twing come swap ma no wi tan si ga so mo te no wa yo tax mo we tax go we o ya ka si pi ga go pak si wi no ri na ni o to so wi yo so o si ta pi to go peneo.
Sounded terrific to me as they push it ahead here on 3rd and just inches. As long as you can move the 6'5" frame of Cornelius in any sort of positive fashion, you should be okay, and that's what happened here.
That's it. Give him enough room to fall forward, stretch out, and you're pretty much assured of getting it.
Just quickly back, Edmonton teaming up with Windspeaker Media to make that Cree broadcast happen. Very cool opportunity to bring in more fans for the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, for sure, and broadcasting across the province of Alberta tonight, and this is it, right? As we try to grow the game in this country, we want to make sure that it's accessible to as many people as possible.
First 10 from the 37. That's a tight window. Cornelius gunned it in there, but Jones was unable to hang on.
Yeah, working back towards it. Jones, the big catch earlier on this drive as they go with 6-man protection there. Nick Taylor, nickel linebacker, supplies the coverage.
After the incompletion, 2nd and 10 now for Edmonton. 3 receivers to the left for Cornelius. Some pressure coming, gets it away. Hawley goes down to try to get it. The Bombers are saying he didn't. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, Hawley is just going to get to the first down marker and hook it up. There you see with the defender, I believe it was Nichols, wrapping him up as the ball arrives. Left arm of the defender, making sure that that ball couldn't be secured.
Castile from 51 earlier in the game. This one from 44, left hash. And that will swerve its way through the uprights and cut the Winnipeg lead to just 4 early in the 2nd quarter.
I can't help thinking maybe Bombers should have waited until after the game to give him the lucky ring. You know, we were looking at his numbers earlier. He mentioned 0 of 2 from beyond 50. He was just 5 of 9 from 40-plus yards prior to tonight's game.
Are you telling me that you think a Grey Cup ring can give somebody confidence going into a game?
You know, I'm just saying, a little reminder that you're a champion, right?
It's the 5th team in the last 5 seasons for Castile. Was an all-star back in 2019 and came in and really stabilized the kicking game for the eventual Grey Cup champions last year. Back on the ground, this time into the hands of Johnny Augustine for the first time tonight, and a decent pickup again on the ground on first down.
And Brady Oliveira with the start, but we expect to see a lot of Johnny Augustine, as those two have shared that job since week 1. Again, keeping that position Canadian with even after Andrew Harris's departure via free agency.
2nd and 5 for Collaros, 3 receivers to his right. Starts with a look to his left, now flares out of the pocket and throws it in low. Probably could have ran for a first down there, but he tried to gun it into Schoen, and it dropped just in front of him.
Yeah, a little bit of room in front of him, but yeah, he saw an opportunity and, you know, trying to throw that one on a full sprint. Usually this is sort of bread and butter for Zach Collaros, but this one got away from him a little bit. You see one hops it to his intended target.
You're right, though. He's been making a ton of plays like that so far this season, very consistently. When he gets out of the pocket, low kick, that will bounce all the way out of bounds at the 25. Winnipeg defense about to go back to work. Willie Jefferson, longtime leader in a row. He's fitted nicely in Winnipeg, but it started here in Edmonton. For more on that, let's send it down to Sarah Orlesky.
Well, he certainly has, Dustin, fit in well in Edmonton. When you think about the impact that Willie Jefferson has had, he's not only obviously one of the top defensive players in the CFL, he's one of the top personalities as well. He arrived here in Edmonton wearing his old Edmonton jersey, having played here in 2014-2015 seasons. That's something you don't see too often. He joked about how it was just all really in good fun. I mean, he has a ton of respect for Chris Jones. He wants to get back to that kind of fun, young playing self that he used to, quarterback sack happy player that he used to be with it. But a lot of entertainment from Willie Jefferson, and you think about the impact that of course he has with this Bombers team in this season already. A slower start by Willie's standards just in terms of numbers, but impact no less. Has sacks in 3 of his last 4 games, and you know that he is looking to get on the highlight reel here tonight.
He would like to do that. Has a touchdown this year as well. 2nd and 2. Cornelius lunging ahead. Pretty good pickup on 2nd and short. You remember another guy wearing his old jersey back?
I think there are probably only a handful of people that could get away with it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, but he's one of them.
Willie's
right?
one of them. Yeah. Yeah, big personality. I think everybody knows that it's something intended in fun, and just, again, a reminder of where it all began for this CFL superstar.
I had him on my local radio show here in Edmonton on Wednesday, and I said, you know, did you know what you were getting into when Chris Jones brought you up to CFL? He goes, Chris just told me I had to come up and rush the passer. That's all he told me. And I mean, it's settled in, and it's clearly worked out wherever he's been. This one falls incomplete. And was that Willie getting in the face of Cornelius to force a 2nd and 10?
Yeah, I mean, on cue, you say all he has to do is come up and rush the passer. Look at how quickly he got through the line on this one as they move him around a little bit. And that's been it, right? I mean, year 1, it may have been just come up and rush the passer. But he does so much more than that now. A guy you can move around, drop in coverage. You know, obviously great at the line of scrimmage using that frame to knock passes down.
Cornelius gets this one away and once again has just enough for a first down. That one into the waiting arms of Manny Arsenault, who's having quietly a very nice season for the Elks.
Yeah, a nice comeback season for Manny Arsenault, guy who was playing indoor football a year ago as he kept his career going.
Coming into this week, 11th in the league in receiving yards. Now they'll hand it off to Irons, and look at the effort here from Malik Irons. If you're talking about first impressions, that'll go a long way.
It certainly will. Irons, a big back, about 230 pounds. The banger, and you got a little bit of a sense of that at the end of this play as you see him move the pile. Nice pickup on first down there for the Elks run game.
2nd and inches, and another push ahead, and another first down from the quarterback, Cornelius. Cornelius is 9 of 13 for 97 yards. Jones watching on, trying to finally get this win at home.
Yeah, and I'm sure part of the game plan offensively for Edmonton in terms of using this run game and so on. I mean, part of it is to create some play action opportunities, some bootleg opportunities that let Cornelius run. But, you know, I think part of it is controlling the ball and keeping Winnipeg off the field as well.
They work from the Winnipeg 51. 4 options to the right for Cornelius. He comes over to the left, got a completion, and that's to Hakeem Butler for his first CFL catch. The 6'5", 227-pound Hakeem Butler.
Yeah, newcomer to that receiving core. Darrell Walker out of this Edmonton lineup tonight. And, you know, Chris Jones loves height, right? I mean, one of the buzzwords in scouting in so many sports, football, basketball, even hockey in recent years has become length, right? Basically that wingspan. When we look at receivers, that translates to catch radius, and you saw it right there with Mr. Butler.
Butler, a 4th-round pick of Arizona in 2019. Cornelius in trouble here, tries to drop it off before he is taken down. And that was Cameron Lawson, who was all over him pretty quickly there as well.
Rolling on the field, the quarterback was in the grass. It's 3rd down.
But calling that one a sack is big Cam Lawson on that defensive line. Queen's University product from Caledon, Ontario. Drafted last year by Montreal, traded to Winnipeg. Add some Canadian depth behind Jake Thomas on that D line this year.
Draft day trade, wasn't it? It was right around the draft.
Just before, yeah, just before.
Trigger on that deal. That's his first career sack. As this will be booted away from just inside the 50. Grant slides underneath it. Back outside the 20 with multiple flags on the field as the Elks drive him back. As we finally get a whistle, Winnipeg's offense with a 4-point lead will have the ball when we return.
Playing
was broken on Friday, July 27th, 2007. You must know this one off the top of your head.
I do, actually. 2007, I remember it well.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We'll give you the answer coming up a little bit later on. Don't cheat. Don't go to Google. Way offside here. I think it was Bailey who just had that timed poorly.
Offside, Winnipeg number 88. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 1st down.
Had his first touchdown of the season a little bit earlier, averaging just 9.2 yards per catch. It's the lowest among the receivers. Still a lot of time, but Schoen's kind of really jumped in here, and Ellingson's been an excellent fit, and Rasheed Bailey's sort of flown under the radar a little bit in this offense, at least through the first third of the season. Yeah, well, and that's a guy who, if he gets hot, is sort of a great sleeper to keep card to play later in the year as they go. 1st and 15, falls incomplete. They tried to go back to Dalton Schoen again, 5th target of the game for Schoen. In fact, outside of the Bailey touchdown, Schoen has been targeted 5 times. Nobody else has a catch. There you saw Toby Antigua. Another Chris Jones favorite. He's been moved around a little bit as well. Started his career with Coach Jones in Saskatchewan. 2nd and 15 on his own 28. Kolaris backpedals, dumps it off to Bailey, makes one man miss, puts on the brakes, cuts it back up the field. An excellent effort. He'll end up coming up short, but you got to give him bonus points for trying to find that 1st down marker. That's what he's capable of. Yeah, right? Terrific after the catch effort here by Bailey, who looked like he was surrounded. He made the catch here, crossing route, left to right on your screen. So it's cut off to the sideline. Manages to create a lane to get it north-south. Still about 4 yards short, forcing the punt. Leggio stands on his own 25, set to kick it away to Duron Carter. Carter's going to have to backpedal to get this one. Takes it high in the chest, just inside the 15, near sideline. After a 54-yard kick, Edmonton will have the ball. Just over 5.5 minutes remaining in the first half. They trail 10-6. Duron Carter back in the CFL, back with Chris Jones. For more on his return to the league, let's send it down to Sarah Orleski.
Well, Dustin, certainly when it was announced that Duron Carter had signed in the offseason, it raised some eyebrows. He didn't play last season. He was down coaching in Florida. And then when he came up, this is his first game in. He started on the 6-game injured list after getting injured during training camp. Now, he's going to be eased in. That is the plan for this game here today. But we are expecting to see him in the secondary as well as obviously returning kicks. And one of the things that Duron Carter had said that when I asked him about whether or not he'd like to be maybe on the offensive side of the ball, as well, even though we know that most recently he had played defensive back, he said he will always be a receiver at heart, but he knows that as a defensive back, he said he feels as if you have the opportunity to maybe impact the game, get the ball in your hands a little bit more often. He did say we can expect to see him used, though, on all sides of the ball, and we have talked already. I've heard you and Dwayne talk about how Chris Jones has flipped some of his players around. We know he likes versatility. We'll see how he ends up using Duron Carter this evening.
If he wants to play all positions, he's come to the right place. Here's Cornelius Lawler for a first down after he went to Hawley on first down. And those have been his 2 main targets so far in this game.
Here we take a look. Pretty good matchup out there. Lawler, Winston Rose, former teammates.
Nick Taylor in on the tackle there as well. He spent a couple of years, 2018 and 19 here in Edmonton. First and 10 on their own 43 for Cornelius. Steps up in the pocket. Now over to his right, looking downfield. He's going to take off again, and he's got a first down sliding at midfield. And he is creating a lot out of not much a few times here tonight.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you watch the path that Cornelius takes. Watch when he first steps up, and then he goes lateral, staying behind the line of scrimmage. And what that does is it forces defenders to back off because they recognize he can still throw the ball. Good heads-up move, because what he did was he actually created space for himself to run the football by keeping the threat of throwing it alive with that lateral movement behind the line of scrimmage.
Ball smack dab at midfield. 4 receivers, wide side left for Cornelius. Steps back, has some time. Now he's going to use that big arm to take a shot down the field. And it falls incomplete. He was looking for Lawler into eventual double coverage, and Kenny couldn't haul it in.
I love the faith between quarterback and receiver on this pass as Cornelius puts the ball up. Lawler, the lone receiver on this side. When the ball's in the air, you can see 2 defenders converging. But Taylor Cornelius is going to take his chances with his guy, Kenny Lawler. Gets in behind very nearly. Came up with that one.
Yeah, he didn't miss it by much, did he?
No, not at all.
Crowd here at Commonwealth would have exploded if he could have held on to that one. Instead, it's 2nd and 10 in midfield. Pressure coming. He's going to be flushed into the pocket, and he's going to be tracked down and taken down on the play by Moreau. Gets home for a big loss. 4th sack of the game by the Bombers defense. Winnipeg on top, 10-6. Crane kick.
Defense, and Milt Stegall has prepared a graph of why Farhan Lalji is a better host of this panel than myself. So
We love you, Farhan.
I need you, Farhan.
That's a debate that will continue on for years, isn't it?
I mean, this year we have seen Kate voted off the panel already. The unrest continues. Clearly discord in paradise.
Mango with the kick. Grant slides underneath it, hit immediately before he could get to the 35. Here is the answer to our Friday Night Football trivia question. You said you knew this, right?
I recall. You remember the big debate as to whether, rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, what was the case on this one? As there's a whole big discussion. Milt just could find his way to the end zone, right?
But is he the best receiver on the panel? That's what we have to find out. Congratulations on the record.
Edmonton, number 18. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's a first down for Winnipeg.
So misconduct on the play. That flag flew right as we went to the trivia answer. And the ball will be moved up to the 50. We'll try to get you another look at the penalty, but Winnipeg with 2:24 on the clock here, decent field position for an offense that, you know, they got the turnover, scored a touchdown, but outside of that, they really haven't moved the ball much in this game so far. Collaros is just 3 of 7 for 77 yards, and they'll hand it off on first down, and that goes nowhere. Mac Henry right in the middle of that defense with Malik Tyne.
The veteran Mac Henry, another guy brought over in free agency by Chris Jones from Saskatchewan. Veteran stalwart, great community guy as well. Henry.
2nd and 9 for Winnipeg. Look at that time of possession. Edmonton has managed to keep Winnipeg off the field, and now an interception. Antigua stumbles after, but the Elks are going to take over at the 45. Toby Antigua steps up and makes a big play. Collaros' first interception in quite some time. He'd come into the game with 82 consecutive attempts without an interception.
Don't make a play. I heard what y'all been saying about me. I heard what y'all been saying.
Toby Antigua fired up after that one. You know, and he's a guy I know came into the league as a defensive end, former college receiver, being used as a linebacker here tonight by Chris Jones, who had occasionally used him as a safety.
Cornelius guns it into the Lawler, but he's hammered by Thompson, and the ball falls incomplete. Lawler comes up a little bit of pain there, and now he's going to head off to the sideline. Take a knee, actually, before he can get there.
Yeah, took a pretty good shot there from Malcolm Thompson, Wilfrid Laurier University. Thompson, nice find, a guy who had bounced around a little bit. Stops in Calgary and Hamilton previously before being signed as a free agent by Winnipeg. Ends up winning the starting free safety job. Guy that Mike O'Shea described as just kind of a natural back there in training camp. Like, looked very comfortable from day one, was a good fit, communicated. Started every game this season for the Bombers. Great story.
3-time All-Star.
Yeah, overlooked a little bit, I think, coming out of college because he had some injury issues along the way.
2nd and 10. Pressure on Cornelius. They're going to get home again. They'll take him down. This time it's Big Hill. His 2nd sack of the season. 5th of the game tonight for Winnipeg, as Cornelius has been under fire.
Edmonton defense comes up with a big play. You'll see Big Hill coming from depth on this one. To time up that blitz, it's just a 5-man rush. He loops backside there to find a lane.
5 sacks from 5 different members of the Bombers defense. That one a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, including last season. Castillo to kick it away. Both Castillo and Mengel have been kicking tonight. This one comes down to Grant just inside the 25. And the Elks are able to smother him before he can do any damage on that return. MLS on TSN heats up tomorrow with the Canadian triple-header action. Toronto FC kicks off the evening with a battle against Charlotte at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on TSN.
Hey, the new look Toronto FC. Been very busy this one.
It seems like a lot of transactions are popping up, aren't they? Another crack at it for this Winnipeg offense. They'll hand it off, and Oliveira is wrapped up immediately. That was Henry again. Gave him nowhere to go.
Well, limited opportunities. We alluded to it on the last possession. Limited opportunities offensively for Winnipeg in this football game. As you see Mac Henry bursting through the middle of that D line. junior star in Burlington, finding his way to the Canadian Football League. But Edmonton doing a pretty good job keeping the ball out of Collaros' hands.
2nd and 13. Collaros steps up into the pocket this time. Sends one down the field. Wide open. He's got a man. It's Schoen. Schoen inside the 30. Staying on his feet down to the 10. Towards the end zone. And he's in. Touchdown and a big one late. Dalton Schoen's 4th of the year. This one good for 81. And Winnipeg extends the lead.
And this one all starts with Zach Collaros maneuvering the pocket to find an opportunity to make this throw, and on it, by this point, it's become a bit of a broken play. First to step up, slide left, set the feet, and drop it in there to Schoen. Does a nice job there making Duron Carter miss en route to the end zone.
Let's go! 7th game in the Canadian Football League for Schoen. That's the 4th time that he's contributed with a major extra point punch through. And Winnipeg now on top 17-6. And you lose a Kenny Lawler and you lose a Darvin Adams. You bring in Ellingson, who's been great. You don't have Ellingson tonight. And here's Schoen stepping up again.
Yeah, absolutely. This guy has been such a terrific find for the Bombers this season. You know, and clearly on the same page as his quarterback. Gets to an open spot on the field with Collaros on the move.
What an interesting first half for Zach Collaros. He's 4 of 9 for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception.
4 completions for $158.
And 2 touchdowns mixed in there. So.
Don't give me a sack, strip sack.
Sure doesn't come across as a first-year guy in this league, does he? The way he plays, Schoen looks like he's been around for a little while.
Yeah, oh, he sure does. And, you know, I remember Mike O'Shea telling us that coming out of camp is this guy, he does things like a veteran.
Carter on the return, trying to kick it to the outside, wrapped up and eventually taken down. We'll get another look here at Dalton Schoen's 4th touchdown of the season.
And again, it's Zach Collaros buying time, maneuvering the pocket. Schoen recognizes what's going on, get to an open spot, front side. Quarterback sliding left, he works to his left. Collaros drops it in there.
Nice bounce back after the interception on the previous possession. And with 31 seconds left, Cornelius is going to take a knee. Interesting half for Edmonton. You think you're hanging around, you're moving the ball better than Winnipeg had moved it so far, and now you're going to go into the room down 11 at halftime.
Yeah, and you know, we talk all the time about, you know, yeah, time of possession matters, and particularly in terms of sort of wearing a team down, but one of those things that can negate time of possession is big plays, right? You're not going to have the ball for a long time when every pass you complete goes for 40 yards or more. Winnipeg's 2 scoring plays account for 107 yards of offense. Outside of those 2 plays, only 75 yards.
Crowd here at Commonwealth didn't love that Edmonton decided to kneel it out to end the first half, but they'll take it. They're down 17-6 to the perfect 6. Elks trailing 17-6 at half. Let's send it down to Sarah Orleski with Toby Antigua.
Toby, when you look at that first half for it, you largely were able to keep the Bombers in check. How do you get the momentum back, though, as a defense?
We just got to execute. Simple stuff. We just got to go out there and execute. We did a halfway decent job in the first half, but they got some explosions on, you know, 2 corners and then the last play at the half. All we got to do is come out here and execute, keep Zach in the pocket, stop the running game, and we should be looking good, you know, in the second half.
Thanks for the time.
I thought he summarized it nicely. A halfway decent job.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, very well said, right? I mean, when we talked about it just before the end of the half, a couple of explosion plays are basically the difference in this football game. You know, we talked about Edmonton using pretty good ball control offense, keeping Collaros off the field, limiting Winnipeg's opportunities. They've done that. Winnipeg had probably kept Winnipeg a little bit out of sync offensively, but the Bombers managed to come up with a couple of big plays and finding ways as championship winning teams do.
Underway in the second half on Friday Night Football at Commonwealth. Carter on the return brings it all the way across the field, looking to turn it back up. Almost got back to his own 35 as Cornelius under pressure quite often in the first half of this football game.
Yeah, that Bombers defense, even without Jackson Jeffcoat, this group getting it done. Malik Clemens, next man up in the weak side linebacker spot, comes up with a big tip. Of course, you knew Willie Jefferson would be involved. LB Mack into the backfield for one. Adam Bighill on the loop. Got there as well.
Cornelius, 117 yards, 12 of 18, 39 yards on the ground as well. And the ground is where they'll go to start the half as they give it to Malik Irons, who had 3 carries for 16 yards in his first half as an Elk.
Yeah, Irons certainly showing some flashes. Of course, here in the Canadian Football League, he has probably become best known as Nathan Rourke's college teammate. Part of a little bit of a Canadian contingent that had started to develop there at Ohio University with the Bobcats.
Drafted in the 3rd round in 2019. Cornelius has a completion to Hawley at midfield, and that'll move the Elks into Winnipeg territory. A 19-yard pass to Caleb Hawley, who's been involved quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. Hawley getting an opportunity to get back into this lineup. Number of changes for the Elks this week. Kai Loxley on the 1-game injured list, opening up a spot in the slot.
5th catch of the game for Hawley. 1st and 10 on the Winnipeg 53 for Cornelius. Out to Arsenault, who cuts it back up inside the 50, down inside the 45, and it'll be just shy of another first down, his 2nd catch of the ball game.
Yeah, a little hitch screen here to Manny Arsenault. He gets up the field in a hurry, picks up a nice block from Caleb Hawley here. The first one on Donald Rutledge.
Clements came over and finished him off.
A little different role for Manny Arsenault, a guy who has typically been sort of a number 1, number 2 guy throughout his career.
2nd and 2, Cornelius lunging ahead. Looks like they probably have enough for a first down. Arsenault, team lead best, 132 yards after the catch so far this season.
Yeah, he's been good, right? You're not going to see necessarily as many deep over-the-top shots to Manny as you did early in his career, although he's necessarily as many deep over-the-top shots to Manny as you did early in his career, although he's shown some flashes, right? He catch the right coverage, and you'll definitely see that part of his game still. But seeing a lot of plays where he is a little bit more of a possession type guy, get the ball in his hands close to the line of scrimmage and let him try to make some things happen.
If he's able to stay healthy this year, could take a run at his 5th 1,000-yard season. As we get a whistle here, just as they're about to set up 3rd and inches.
Called by Edmonton.
And it's Edmonton who's going to use a timeout. Didn't pick it up on 2nd down, so 3rd and inches here. They've had pretty decent luck so far pushing it ahead with Cornelius under center this evening.
Yeah, getting the bigger bodies out on the field. Looked like they were a man short, by the way, for that last one that led to the timeout. A little bit of a telltale when one guy comes off and 2 go on.
You got a great eye for the game.
Yeah, the details.
They need inches, and they will push ahead And it looks like they got the inches that they needed for a first down, and they do, as he follows David Beard and the rest of that offensive line right behind Beard and Corte. There's a look at Stephen McAdoo, offensive coordinator. Much like we talked about with Kenny Lawler and the different quarterbacks and different looks that they've had to have, different style of quarterbacks, but from Arbuckle to Ford to Cornelius, all three of them are different, and then you sprinkle in a little Kyle Oxley, and he's unique in his own way as well. Empty backfield for Cornelius, this time a low ball, and that'll fall incomplete as he was looking for Hakeem Butler, and the big guy couldn't get down in time to scoop it up.
Yeah, I saw Cornelius with his hands on his head after throwing that one, kind of knowing, yeah, he needed to step into that one a little bit more and get it out there. So it comes up short. Missed opportunity creates this 2nd and 10.
Can't have misses against this Bombers defense.
You will only get so many opportunities.
Winnipeg 42 is where they work. 3 to the left, a couple to the right. Dumps it off underneath. They'll try to pick it up this way. And my goodness, they might have got it. Dumping it off underneath to Malik Irons. His 2nd catch of the game.
Another nice effort there from Malik Irons, starting off in that backfield alongside Taylor Cornelius. Check down, get out of there.
That was Big Hill he was able to avoid, which allowed him to pick up the first down. A nice start to the half so far for the home side. Down 11. Flags. Cornelius is going to step up. Pressured. Eventually dumps it off. Finds Arsenault, who's going to take it down inside the 20. It looked like some confusion at the line before the snap, which led to the flag, so we'll wait and pick up the call here. And Cornelius looks to know it's coming back.
Edmonton had no end. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
No formation issue there. So as we take a look at the end of the line, you see the receiver in behind Tony Washington. It's Manny Arsenault. You see Manny telling them they got to get somebody up on the line of scrimmage on the other side. He was waving to try and get a 7th man up on the line, but
I'll back him up 5 yards for a 1st and 15. Arsenault in the slot to the left of Cornelius. He's going to look down the field for Hawley. He gets hammered and it falls incomplete. Winston Rose came over and popped him and knocked that ball loose.
And this is one, if Cornelius had just been able to keep that throw just a touch more to the inside, as you see him throw down the seam here. He sees Hawley. He's got that room to the inside, but he pulls him back outside with the throw, which brings him into the corner. Winston Rose.
Drops that inside, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he's in behind. Deep coverage in the middle.
Well, he's going to need another big one here. 2nd and 15. And that one, if held on to, will be close to enough for a first down as he goes back out the sideline to Mike Jones. Just enough.
Mike Jones. Again, for the 2nd time in this ball game, doing a nice job right along that sideline. Getting it done for Taylor Cornelius.
He's got 34 yards tonight on 2 catches. That's a season high. Previous high was 30 yards coming into the game. Now he's going to trot himself out to the top of your screen, set up by the 20 marker. 11th play of the drive for Cornelius. Near side, and some confusion over there. Bodies flying. Looked like both sides were looking for a flag. And Mario Houston going to work there against Hakeem Butler, and it falls incomplete.
And we'll see here, I kind of caught the tail end of this matchup. And there you see why Houston was complaining, as Butler recognized that the DB maybe had a little better jump back towards the ball.
Might have had Opportunity to make a play for a third interception on the season for Houston. 2nd and 10 now for Cornelius. He's going to look towards the end zone, and that one falls incomplete. It was over towards Butler again. This time looked like it was Rose who was in his back pocket, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10. So after a pretty nice drive to start the half, took a huge chunk off the clock. They'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Keep an eye here. Big Butler looking to give him a jump ball situation as he's got a big size advantage. A little bit of what we saw with Carlton Agadosi for Winnipeg last week in his debut, right? Put it up, let the big guy go make some plays.
3 points knocked home by Castillo. 3 for 3, all the points off the leg of Castillo. The Elks trail at home, 17-9. All for the first time here in the 3rd quarter. Here's a look at what Collaros put together in the first half.
Yeah, not a lot of plays, but the ones they made were big in nature. Bomb to Rashid Bailey in the back of the end zone, down the sideline to Dalton Schoen. And again, off the scramble, finding Schoen late in that first half. The rookie takes it in for a Winnipeg touchdown.
Collaros has moved into 30th place all-time in CFL passing yards tonight, and he's going to look for another huge chunk here. Almost picked off. That was Leonard who cut in underneath Schoen and at least batted it away.
Yeah, nice recovery there from Leonard. Again, the converted receiver playing on the corner for Edmonton. Once again, Collaros getting on that roll to his right. This one called not a forced scramble. Rolling right, throwing down the middle.
Leonard put himself in a nice spot to play on that ball.
He recovered well because it looked like Schoen was in behind him when the ball was initially thrown, but he closed well.
2nd and 10 on the Winnipeg 40. Collaros with some pressure, got it away. No, he didn't. It bounces up in the air, and it will eventually fall incomplete. And they'll blow it down as Leonard picks it up and takes it home. But once again, great pressure from Edmonton's defense.
Yeah, you'll see the heat. Edmonton getting after Zach Collaros. Doesn't happen often. Costigan getting a hand on him as he goes to throw that one. Rolled an incomplete pass, but good heads up by the Edmonton defenders telling Leonard, play it out, just in case that ruling changes.
Ooh, Leggio gets this one away just in time. Carter with a little head fake. And eventually forced out of bounds just outside his own 15 after a 56-yard kick. A nice boot there from Mark Leggio. Elks defense trying to keep them in this game. From Mark Leggio. Elks defense trying to keep them in this game. With the Elks this year, and I will be taking my family there and struggling to work my way through it for sure, as I don't think you can go all the way. I will be taking my family there and struggling to work my way through it for sure, as I don't think you can go all the way around that thing. I think it's 2 separate mazes inside a maze. That has been a nightmare for me personally. A great rivalry.
Waking up in a cold sweat.
A great rivalry with the maze. I live about 10 minutes from it, and I sneak out at night. Here's Arsenault, and he's able to pick it up. Nice gain there from Manny Arsenault on first down. See up on the right side here, just below the S, it doesn't complete.
Here, come on, you want the telestrator over here.
Just right, this is my first time telestrating. Right in here, it doesn't look like it's completed. But it makes for 2 very good mazes.
Oh, very interesting. So you've been over there with like your breadcrumbs and peanuts? And
yeah, I take a chainsaw actually. Make my own way through. I'll hand it off here, and a nice pickup from Litre, I believe, outside the 45 as Edmonton once again moving the ball a little bit. And the Bombers don't allow a lot of points, but they have allowed some yards to be gained against them. They're 6th in the league this year on defensive yards allowed.
Yeah, and you may see other teams look to sort of add to this blueprint that that the Elks have against Edmonton. I mean, obviously, You know, when you look at the pass rush, if you can be productive running the football to keep yourself out of 2nd and long.
2nd and 2. And once again, straight up the middle, it'll be Cornelius. Identified some pressure. Looked like Jefferson was coming around the edge, so he takes it up the middle for a first down.
Yeah, and this is an interesting play to me because you get into 2nd and short to avoid the pass rushers, right? But watch Willie Jefferson as they decide to pass on 2nd and short. Willie Jefferson is all over it, forcing Cornelius to scramble to pick up those yards.
Jefferson walked right around Ivy in that right tackle spot. Cornelius now, pressure coming, identifies it, has a completion, and that goes to Osakusi, his 2nd catch of the season, 1st of the night.
You hear me talk all the time about the versatility of Adam Bighill and how he's used. This is where he starts off on this play, as if he's going to be deep in coverage. Watch where he ends up. Timing it up on the blitz into the backfield. He's the guy and forcing Taylor Cornelius to get that ball out of his hands. But, you know, I would say more than any other linebacker in the league, if you were to sort of chart where he makes plays on the field, it could be 5 yards deep in the backfield. It could be 20 yards downfield in coverage.
2nd and 2, and once again Cornelius just holds on to that ball and lunges through it. He did talk about Bighill a little bit earlier in the week. We were talking about you have to identify. That's how it starts.
Yeah.
You have to identify where Bighill is going to be.
Know where this guy is. Yeah, something of a cheat code for defensive coordinator Richie Hall.
Do you think Richie just says, "Hey Adam, do whatever you want. It's going to be okay"?
But it's, you know, it's great. I mean, this is, again, as a middle linebacker, you have your prototypical middle linebacker, and that's what Adam Bighill is physically, but yet you sort of add the other things he can do, and he's got a skill set that would allow him to play well, you know, in some ways could even allow him to play on the strong side at nickel.
3rd and inches again, and Cornelius again. Did they get the inches this time? It looks like they're saying they did, so it's kind of rinse and repeat here for the Elks. And 2nd and 2, they're just giving it to Cornelius, not messing around, pushing it ahead, getting it to 3rd and inches, and then pushing ahead for what they need.
Yeah, not trying to disguise it at all. Everybody for Edmonton is lined up across the line of scrimmage. Cornelius in behind. Everybody for Winnipeg at the line of scrimmage with Bighill in behind.
Well, he did a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
Bighill moving into 8th all-time in tackles last week. Look at that time of possession, my goodness. Yet, Edmonton still trails by 8.
Big plays.
Ball this time on the Winnipeg 49. 3 receivers to the left for Cornelius. Bighill coming with pressure again. It's picked up, and Cornelius gets it away for a completion down at the Winnipeg 41. Kenny Lawler, his 5th catch of the game.
And once again, there's your middle linebacker out in Bighill. This time in the blitz. Nice job by Milanovic Litre stepping up. Meet him in the hole. Nick Taylor giving Kenny Lawler a bit of a hard time at the end of that one.
2nd and 2, but 2nd and a little bit of a longer 2 here. 3 left, 3 right, and this one is batted down at the line of scrimmage. And that'll bring up 3rd down again, and Edmonton will have to settle for another field goal attempt from Castillo.
Yeah, and this is the other half of the equation, right? When we look at this time of possession. Wasn't sure if it was Willie Jefferson. Yeah. Got a hand on that one.
2nd time tonight.
Yeah, but I mean the combination of Winnipeg with some big plays that they didn't need to have the ball a lot, and Edmonton settling for field goals after their time-consuming drives.
48-yarder, and that one is wide to the right. Grant will take a knee, so Castillo leaves points on the board, and we've got a 7-point game. Castillo now 3 of 4. This one from 48 misses. Hit one from outside of 50 to start the game tonight. Minute and 20 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Bombers get the ball back for the 2nd time in the half. and they lead 17-10. Zach Collaros, 4 of 11 for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Will hand it off to Oliveira, who puts his head down and gets some extra yards after initial contact, and will end up with about 7 or 8 on this first down.
Good hard run there for Brady Oliveira on first down.
His longest run of the season's stuck at 10. Hasn't been able to push beyond that just yet. Thought he might here with the effort that he brought to the table.
He needed that Andrew Harris spin. They just need a little more tutorial time.
That was usually good for 2 yards, right?
Mentor, that's right.
I think I asked him about that early in the season. I said, you got the spin cycle in the repertoire, and there's one Andrew Harris, right? A little bit different there. We'll take a quick break. Bombers on top, 17th, 126 yards. Had that 100-yard game as well. Hasn't hit the 100-yard mark yet this season. His high for a game is 56. Johnny Augustine, who gets a little bit of work as well, his high is 57. They've had one really good game. It was that game against BC where they really established the run and controlled the game in the first half on the ground. But outside of that, it's been a lot of Zach Collaros magic so far this year for the 6-0 Bombers.
On a rebuilt receiving core that has looked pretty remarkable so far as well.
They'll hand it off to Oliveira again. Wow. This time he lowers the boom for a first down and more.
It's better to give than to receive. Brady Oliveira lowers the boom. This is what you love as a running back, is being able to take on a smaller defender. Ed Gainey, veteran, not a small guy by any stretch, but Oliveira with a head of steam. Gainey kind of flat-footed waiting for him. Takes the brunt of that one.
1st and 10 on the Edmonton 52. Back to Oliveira again. And a solid push ahead for 3 or 4 on first down carry as Winnipeg tries to get some of that time of possession back and establish something on the ground here as we get set to wrap up the 3rd quarter of play on Friday Night Football at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Don't go anywhere. 4th quarter, tight football game on the line as the Bombers look to go to 7-0. They've got a 7-point lead and the ball with the 4th quarter coming up right here on TSN.
Feed your feet and your taste buds with peanut butter cheesecake filling and drizzled with peanut butter sauce. Try our new Dream Donuts, drummed up from your favorite desserts. It's time for new Dream Donuts. It's time for Tim's.
In Cree, all across the province. Let's get to another call from that crew just down the hallway.
Hey, we've been well. Hey, got it new. Well, hey, we beat the Wahio. Let's get that. We beat the Wahio.
They're having a great time tonight. I talked to them a little bit. They're having a great time tonight. I talked to them a little bit before the game tonight, and I mean, there's your typical nerves, just sliding into doing something you don't do regularly. But all 3 of them are very excited to have a chance to do that tonight and help grow the game here in the Canadian Football League. Collaros down the field again, and this is intercepted again. And look who it is. It's Duron Carter. He's got the ball. He's back up on his feet outside the 30. Welcome back. Intercepted again, and look who it is. It's Duron Carter. He's got the ball. He's back up on his feet outside the 30. Welcome back to the Canadian Football League. Duron Carter making a big play here to start the 4th quarter.
It was interesting to hear Duron Carter. Sarah Orlesky mentioned it earlier as he talked during the week, suggesting he thinks he can impact the game more as a defensive back than he could as a receiver. And I think the implication is you'll see Zach Collaros here, his arm tipped as he goes to throw the football. Carter lined up out at the corner spot here. The throw ends up short. He starts off going to help out deep. Call ends up short. He goes and gets it, but Yeah, just feeling that he can impact the game more by stopping people making plays on defense, whereas on offense, as a receiver, feeling that maybe you're limited by somebody else having to get you the ball to make plays.
Here is Cornelius near side to Kenny Lawler. And the crowd here loves it as Lawler spins ahead against his former teammates. All the way out to midfield and more. What an effort by one of the newest members of the Edmonton Elks, and he is fired up.
Kenny Lawler looking to make things happen here as the Elks, who, by the way, had almost 13 minutes time of possession in the third quarter, but only 4 points to show for it. Here, maybe looking to try and play the big play card a little bit more themselves, coming off the Duron Carter turnover.
Cornelius is now up to 235 yards tonight against his Winnipeg defense. They're going to bring pressure again up the middle. He's in trouble. Jefferson gets there, hits him as he throws it deep. Lawler could never make a play on it with Dietrich Nichols in coverage, but Cornelius is lucky he got that one away as he comes up with a limp.
Yeah, trajectory of that ball clearly affected by the shot that Taylor Cornelius takes here. Willie Jefferson keeps Tony Washington's hands off him on the rush.
Sets up a 2nd and 10 just on Winnipeg's side of the field. Bombers with a 7-point cushion on the road, looking to go to 7-0. Cornelius hoping to have other ideas. Dumps it off. Arsenault is able to haul it in, but he is wrapped up quickly. Jefferson is there. Nichols is there, and it ends up being just a short pickup to set up 3rd and long.
Missed opportunity going back to the first down play with Willie Jefferson disrupting things, but you know, kind of bigger concern when you look at what Edmonton's game plan has been and where some of their success lies, as you see Taylor Cornelius limping off. His mobility has been a huge part of what they've done tonight, running the ball, extending plays, extending drives as a result. Now you see that compromised a little bit.
Castillo set to kick this away from just outside his 45. Got it away just in time. It comes down to Grant at the 16. Back to the 20. Rolls it up to about the 25. And that is where the Bombers offense will go to work. Elks defense. Dalton Schoen with 121 yards tonight. No Greg Ellingson, of course. For more of the dynamic duel, let's send it down to Sarah Orleski.
Well, those two certainly have been impactful so far this season, Dustin. When you look at it, we know Greg Ellingson, and perhaps with the Bombers just up by 7, you look at how much they are missing him. Not only was the leading receiver coming into this week, but the impact that he makes on 2nd downs in particular, an area that they have struggled with tonight. Second, though, in the league and on this team, Dalton Schoen. 12 out of his 24 catches leading into this game here tonight were of the 2nd down variety. He has made an impact early on in this season and in this career for him in the CFL. We'll see whether or not he's able to come up with some big catches here, but it's an area that this team has struggled with so far this game.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, well, it seems like Dalton Schoen sort of found himself on a team with the perfect mentor in Greg Ellingson. Somewhat similar type players, and
well, and Ellingson sliding in and joining the team this year as well. So they're both in their first year with this team. However, you know, for Schoen, his first year in the league, and now with that touchdown today, a team leading 14, and that is Agadosi, who stepped in last week when this doesn't look good. You can see the grimace of pain on his face as they work on his left leg. Doesn't have a catch tonight, but obviously showed some potential. We had a chance to chat with him. Very excited for the opportunity that he has earned here. Let's get a look at what happened.
And here you see the big man long levers, right? Sort of sometimes the downside as a tall guy is those long legs being a little bit more at risk than a stockier player. You see his ankle get rolled up on at the end of that one.
Good news is he's at least up. Will certainly need help getting off of the field. And this was a guy who was injured making a spectacular catch in training camp. Was released, stuck around, came back, got an opportunity, and made the most of it last week. It looks like a cheat code on this play.
Yeah, he sure does. 6 catches in that ball game, 2 of them for touchdowns, going up over top of defenders. You know, Trey Roberson, not a little guy on that corner. 6'6".
If you somehow had him in your fantasy lineup last week, you got lucky. You got lucky. He stepped up big. Unfortunately, he's going to have to go get looked at here. And they'll push it ahead on 2nd and short for a first down. As Drew Brown into the game to take care of business. A role that was for Dakota Prokop before he got injured, and Brown has slid in and taken over that. And of course, regular backup duties if called upon should Collaros not be available.
And we saw what Drew Brown could do in that role in week 1 of this season as he closed things out.
3 for 3 on a game-winning drive.
Yeah, season opening win over Ottawa.
They haven't looked back since. 6-0. A rematch with Calgary looming next week. They'll hand it off to Augustine, and the line helping him move that out towards the Winnipeg 40.
And we'll see if Winnipeg kind of takes a page from Edmonton's book here in the 4th quarter, leaning on the run game a little more and trying to keep their own offense on the field, quite frankly, a little bit. Their defense has played a lot of snaps in this football game. Again, 12 minutes, 47 seconds. Edmonton had the ball in the 3rd quarter of this game. The Winnipeg defense needs a blow.
2nd and 6. This would be Greg Ellingson time normally, as Sarah had just stated. Who's going to come up big now? Collaros far side of the field, and look who it is. It's Schoen who goes out there, slides in underneath Sonda, and gets them a first down.
The other Ellingson. Dalton Schoen again. What a terrific find. Lines up on the outside here into the boundary. Needs 6 yards, runs about 8. Turning it out, going up, making the catch. Great execution for the Winnipeg offense.
You know, it's crazy. That's just the 5th completion of the game for Zach Collaros.
Yeah.
He's 5 of 13. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but they got a 7-point lead. He's going to be throwing again here. That one up high, and it's hauled in by Wolotarski, but he's wrapped up quickly on the play.
Yeah, quick hitter there that sort of speaks to the ball control mode that Winnipeg seems to be shifting into here a little bit. 6-7 man protection. Getting the ball out fast.
Raphael Leonard starting at corner with the tackle there. 2nd and 5 now. Ball right at midfield. Collaros down the field this time in the direction of Janarian Grant. Tried to one-hand it, but it falls incomplete. Working there against Tristan Decoux.
And Bombers hoping to find a little more luck with the big plays that have been their path to success here tonight. But, you know, and you wonder the way Grant and Schoen ended up in similar territory there, and kind of seeing the look on Collaros' face after that play. You got to think maybe something wasn't quite as it was drawn up there between the receivers.
And that is Tristan Decoux who made the play there. Took a knee just before about to get ready to kick the ball away on 3rd down. Trying to stretch it out a little bit. It seemed like Grant on that play also sort of came in almost to get contact. He would have stayed outside. I wonder if he would have had a better chance to get after this ball as it falls over his head.
Yeah, tough to say. Tough to say who the actual intended target was there. If maybe Grant was supposed to run something shorter underneath to hold coverage down and let Schoen run that corner in behind.
It's funny you say that, because as the play was developing, the ball was thrown, I looked down the field and I saw Schoen, and I was about to say he's looking for Schoen, and then Grant sort of appeared in there to make a play on it.
Well, Tristan Decoux, field halfback for Edmonton. Played that position much of the season in Toronto last year.
Gainey will go back to return this kick from Leggio, who stands at his own 41 with the clock ticking down towards 8 minutes left. And one-score ball game. Leggio is hit as he kicks it, and there's a flag on the play. Now another one. A couple penalties coming here against Edmonton. The return was solid back out to the 20, but Leggio was clearly hit just after he let this fly, and Winnipeg's gonna stay on the field here.
Yeah, Mac Henry.
Henry knows it too.
Yeah, right away.
That's a killer.
You know, and this is a punt-safe situation for Edmonton, where they're basically leaving their defense on the field to watch for the fake ball out around midfield and so on. You often see that happen. So typically, yeah, you're not being that aggressive. You're just trying to force the kick. That it's a situation where, as a coaching staff, you're thinking the penalty shouldn't happen.
Well, and Henry has made some pretty good plays tonight for this defense.
Yeah,
that's not one of them.
Yeah, well, I get it. As a guy who's not usually out there on punt team, typically isn't going to find himself.
The first one is contacting the kicker, Edmonton number 74. That's a 10-yard penalty, gives Winnipeg a first down. The second penalty is an illegal block during the return. That penalty is declined. So it's first down for Winnipeg. Is an illegal block during the return. That penalty is declined. So it's first down for Winnipeg.
With just over 8 minutes left, you're thinking you're going to get the ball back, and instead, Zach Collaros and the Bombers get to stay on the field. They get a fresh set of downs, and they get the ball at your own 45.
Yeah, Edmonton, with the penalties, does what Winnipeg has struggled to do offensively tonight, which is extend Bomber drives.
Oliveira will stand in behind his quarterback. Now steps up to the left, 3 receivers to the right of Collaros. One of them will come underneath. It's McRae. He'll give it to McRae, and he's wrapped up neatly and quickly on the play. Niles Morgan getting back into the lineup here. Niles Morgan getting back into the lineup here.
Greg McRae, the running back / receiver. We've seen him come into the lineup a little bit since the Nick Dembski injury, providing a little bit of that skill set.
Second and 8. Can they get off the field this time? Collaros, some pressure coming, steps up, taken down, drops it off, and he's got a completion to Schoen. And it'll go for a first down inside the Edmonton 30.
And the ability of Collaros here to put just kind of a perfect touch on the ball as he's getting hit just as he throws it. You know, which obviously can impact the weight you put on that throw, but he manages to get it there just perfectly.
And just before he got back to the line of scrimmage as well. First and 10 now on the Edmonton 27. Winnipeg looking to possibly seal this thing away. They'll hand it off, and a push ahead from Oliveira down to the 20. Good pickup on first down on the ground.
Yeah, when you just get that feeling, right? Anytime you see a penalty, third down penalty, kicking situation, punting situation that extends the drive, you just have that bad feeling that it's going to end up haunting you. And I get the sense that the Elks have a bit of that sinking feeling right now as Winnipeg. The Elks have a bit of that sinking feeling right now as Winnipeg has grabbed a little bit of offensive momentum. One of the rare occasions in this football game.
11th play of the drive extended by a roughing the kicker penalty. Second and 3. They'll hand it off. Oliveira trying to push ahead. And did he get enough for a first down? It'll be close. If not, it'd be just inches.
Brady Oliveira working for it tonight this time. Losing his lid in traffic.
Third and inches. And Edmonton's defense come up here with a turnover on downs. Brown to keep the drive alive, pushing ahead, and it was only inches that he needed, and that should be more than enough.
Yeah, certainly. Some movement by the offensive line, and then Brown. You could see him at sort of the bottom of that pile, driving his legs. Easily picking up the first.
Mission accomplished for number 6, and he'll head back to the sideline. Kalara slides back in here, 7-16 for 188, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Right behind Neufeld.
Yeah, just wedging it up the middle.
Now Winnipeg, who has not had much time of possession in this game, are really milking this clock away now as they look for points to add to the separation. Polaris, this time over the middle, and it falls incomplete. Gainey in coverage, but there's flags on the play.
Pass interference. Edmonton, number 6. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul. It's going to be first down for Winnipeg.
See that little jersey tug?
The veteran move, but didn't get away with it that time. Ed Gainey, Zach Kalara saw it. Just helping out the officials, making sure it gets called.
Ball will be placed on the Edmonton 3. First and goal from there.
Bombers, by the way, put this game in perspective. This drive, they have eaten up over 8 minutes on the clock. The entire first half, only 9 minutes and 20 seconds time of possession for Winnipeg.
Polaris in the shotgun. Hands it off to Oliveira, who is stopped. Sorry, Brown into the game. Had him in the shotgun. Don't see that very often for Brown, and goal to go situation from the 3, and are they going to leave him in here again? They got a yard on the play, so it'll be second and goal from the 2 as we work our way inside. 3 minutes to play in Edmonton. Quite sad, actually, how much I'm into it. Brown remains in here, second and 2. They got a yard in the belly of Oliveira on the first possession. This time Brown will slide up under center, head towards the end zone, lunges over it, and they're going to say he was down before he did.
Brown tried hard to sell it, but didn't get the call here as we take another look. Pretty good initial push. Looked like he had a seam there. Matthew Thomas came down hard off that edge to make the hit.
Third and goal. The Bombers look to essentially seal this game away. They lead by 7. Looking for more here. Brown was ready to go right away. Officials are going to hold him. And they're going to take another look at it
by the command center
to see if Brown was ever actually down, I guess.
Yeah, well, because he kind of got
held
spun. Yeah, and it looked like his feet were still on the ground. Kind of got spun. Yeah, and it looked like his feet were still on the ground. Take another look here. So Thomas hits him and he spins. You know, and it looks like even there, even before the second push, the ball may have broken the plane just by where he was.
I was a little bit surprised when they came in and didn't signal a touchdown originally.
Yeah. You might have a decent view from above just because of the way that Brown is turned. Yeah, real close call here. But again, right here, you see it looks like that the ball, even in that position off the spin.
And he was never technically down.
Yeah.
Let's get the call. Let's see what happens here at Commonwealth.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field is overturned. The ball carrier was in goal. We have a touchdown for Winnipeg.
A big one for the Bombers. A big one for Brown, his third touchdown of the season. A 15-play, 62-yard, 9-minute and 27-second drive from the Bombers.
They're not the two-time defending Grey Cup champions by accident, right? Finding ways on a night where things aren't going particularly smoothly offensively in terms of driving the football, keeping drives alive, maintaining possession. They rely on some big plays to put up points in the first half, and then when they need to, here in the fourth quarter, keeping the ball out of the other team's hands. And then when they need to, here in the fourth quarter, keeping the ball out of the other team's hands and choking them out.
The lead is now 14 as Winnipeg looks to go to 7-0 on the season. Coach, he's happy. Well, the Bombers didn't have the ball much tonight, but when it mattered most, they controlled it for over 9 minutes. That penalty, a backbreaker for the Elks defense, looked like they were going to get off the field. And then they take it down and punch it in to maybe finish this thing off.
Yeah, and it's one of those where you just had the feeling it was going to come back to haunt them. One of Winnipeg's better extended drives of the night. Again, they made some big plays earlier in this game that allowed them to score points, but it was already a decent drive for them, and then to have that extended by the penalty kind of broke the backs of Edmonton's defense.
Here's Jerron Carter on the return, a decent push back up towards the 40, and that is where Edmonton will have the ball down towards the 40, and that is where Edmonton will have the ball down 14 when we return here in the fourth quarter of Friday Night Football in Edmonton. Happened, but it has not been good here at home for Edmonton. 1,014 days since their last home win. Looks like that is going to be extended here. Next chance to snap that. 14 days since their last home win. Looks like that is going to be extended here. Next chance to snap that won't be until August 13th at home here against the Riders as they have a bye and then go on the road.
Well, big comeback last week, but they started that a little earlier.
Cornelius out to his right, has room to run if he wants it. He's going to take it, and he's got a first down lunging out over the 50. And for Edmonton tonight, you know, they've been a victim to big plays. They've been able to control the ball. They've been able to pick up first downs, but they haven't got the big plays.
Yeah, and that's been part of the challenge for them is, you know, as we talked about earlier, you eat up all this time on the clock, get into scoring territory. You know, as we talked about earlier, you eat up all this time on the clock, get into scoring territory, and come away from it with nothing but field goals or singles. And that's been the story tonight, to the tune of 10 points.
Similar amount of time last night. Ottawa at least had a crack at it at the end. So yeah, certainly not over just yet. And we'll see how Winnipeg approaches this defensively. 2nd and 3 right now for Cornelius.
As we say, no lead is safe, but it may require the kind of big play that they haven't had.
Well, they got a completion here and a push ahead. And all night long, the former Bomber, Kenny Lawler, has been making plays just like that.
Yeah, Lawler has delivered. We've seen this fire on a couple of runs after catches here in the fourth quarter. Dropping the shoulder on some people fighting for yards. leading by example, which is part of what Kenny Lawler was brought to Edmonton to do.
Lawler's at 98 yards. Near side, that one's one hopped into Jones.
Example, which is part of what Kenny Lawler was brought to Edmonton to do.
Lawler's at 98 yards. Near side, that one's one hopped into Jones. I think Lawler likes having Cornelius at quarterback. That's a guy with some zip on the ball. He had a great game last week with Cornelius in there, and he's been good here again tonight.
Yeah, the two of them certainly seem to have clicked and have something that they can build on a little bit. You know, Taylor Cornelius may not be have something that they can build on a little bit. You know, Taylor Cornelius may not be as accurate a passer as you might ideally like, but you know, he definitely brings some tools to the party.
2nd and 10, 3 down territory, obviously here for Edmonton. Cornelius up into the pocket again, this time downfield towards the end zone, and a flag on the play. A couple of them, as the receiver Hawley was tripped by Demariel Houston, and this makes things awfully interesting.
Yeah, Hawley with just on Houston.
Accidental pass interference. Winnipeg number 25. This is a 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Yeah, and my initial sense in watching was that it was accidental, just their feet connected. Houston and Chasen clipped the heels.
So instead, just the 10 yards.
Yeah.
The Elks were up there ready to go, saying, put that ball down right here. But it will give them a fresh set right at the Winnipeg 24. Minute and 41 seconds to work here for Cornelius. Down by 14, though, at home. They're going to bring some pressure this time. It's Big Hill trying to spin in towards him, and that ball is thrown incomplete.
Yeah, another one that got away a little bit from Cornelius. Looking for Chris Osei-Kusi. From Cornelius. Looking for Chris Osei-Kusi.
Osei-Kusi had a catch earlier in the game. Lawler's got 7, Hawley's got 6. Arsenault 4 catches on 4 targets. Does he pop up in this situation? Quick chat there with Kenny Lawler. And they both slide into the slot to the left of Cornelius. 2nd and 10 on the Winnipeg 24. They will go to Arsenault. Down to the 20, but no further. And that'll bring up a 3rd down situation.
Nice job tackling in space there from the Bomber defense to ensure that Arsenault gets nothing after the catch, forcing this 3rd down.
3rd and 5 for Cornelius. Gotta have this one. Bombers defense stepping up. Deflected by Jefferson, and it will fall incomplete. And Willie Jefferson, I think that's the 3rd one tonight he got his hands on, and that one, the biggest, it'll seal this thing away.
Yeah, the massive wingspan, knows how to use it. Willie Jefferson wore his green and gold on his way back into town, but his performance leaves absolute way back into town, but his performance leaves absolutely no doubt which team he's playing for.
Jones not happy, maybe not surprised that it was Jefferson,
yeah.
though, that
he's seen this movie before.
There. So with just over a minute left, Winnipeg will get it. They're gonna go to 7-0, setting up a huge game with Calgary on July 30th. Calgary's only loss, of course, against Winnipeg, and Calgary will be coming off a bye. And Bo Levi Mitchell and Calgary off a bye has been near unbeatable over the last 20 games.
There you see that stat we talked about with the time of possession. Winnipeg, the entire first half, 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Their last scoring drive here in the 27. Shifting gears, doing what they had to do to put the ball game away.
Took their last time out.
And that's just what we've come to know about this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team. They just find ways to win.
Timer,
offensively tonight.
To 1:10.
If you would have told me Zach Collaros would have 7 completions on 16 attempts for 188 yards and 2 interceptions, a couple of touchdowns too. I would have thought they might have been in trouble, but here they are on the verge of winning by 14.
Yeah. You got to look at the other piece of that stat line on Zach Kalaro, touchdown passes.
Yes.
Big ones in terms of yardage.
4 catches for Dalton Schoen tonight, 2 and a touchdown for Bailey, and Wolotarski had 1. Oliveira, 12 carries for 58 yards. And even though they allowed Cornelius to move the ball a bit on them, couldn't punch anything in, had to settle for field goal after field goal after field goal. Not very often you're going to win a game on field goals. As this will be carried and pushed ahead. And that'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll come out and kick it away with 66 seconds remaining on the clock. Kick it away with 66 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, eating up a few seconds there, but just so impressive. You know, you hear it all the time. Championship teams find ways to win. And you saw here ways to win. And you saw here in the 4th quarter sort of a complete shifting of gears, changing of game plan for Winnipeg in this ball game to get it done.
Leggio kicks it away from his own 15. This will bounce all the way back up towards midfield. He picked up with a flag on the play, and Edmonton will get it one more time as Hutter grabbed it. Let's take a look at your current standings. In the West, we're officially declaring Winnipeg 7-0.
First down for Edmonton.
And then you go.
First down for Edmonton.
And then you've got Calgary at 4-1 on a bye this week. BC at 4-1 after a win last night. The Riders with a chance to move up into 2nd place on Sunday at home against the Argos. And Edmonton now falling to 2-5 on the year. A couple of wins, a couple of blowout losses, a couple of close losses, and then and then this weird game tonight for Edmonton where they just could not come up with anything big or significant offensively.
2-5.
That's how it is in the end, right?
You know what we call that?
No.
First place in the East.
Dwayne Forney's here.
Hey, thank you. Try the veal.
For a little bit more. As they'll pitch this off to Litre. Both of those wins coming against teams in the East, by the way. Edmonton will get a bye. And then they will head on the road August 6th to take on BC. This is the first of 3 straight on the road for Winnipeg. And then they will head on the road August 6th to take on BC. This is the first of 3 straight on the road for Winnipeg. Here, Calgary, and then Montreal, as this one is dropped on 2nd down. So on the road for 3 before returning home to face Montreal and Calgary for Winnipeg as the streak continues. They will continue to be hunted by other teams around the sets up. I cannot wait to be in Calgary for the Bombers in Calgary on the 30th. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I love it. The Bombers know, right, as 2-time defending champions, as the front runners, you're going to get everybody's best.
There's an idiot on the field right now. Oh, we just taken down heavily in the end zone by the security team. As O'Shea watches on with a smile on his face, knowing his team's about to pick up another victory. With 19 seconds on the clock. We're into a bye here coming off this loss. What do you think? What's the mindset like?
Yeah, just continue to try and grow, quite honestly. And, you know, I mean, I think offensively, when you look at the things they did controlling the football here, they ran the ball well. You know, Taylor Cornelius has sort of demonstrated an ability to create a little bit, to extend plays, an ability to create a little bit, to extend plays. You know, I don't know if he's necessarily a guy who would excel in terms of the called run, but creating plays where there's an option for him to run, building the offense maybe a little bit more around what his skill set is, right? You came into the season with Nick Arbuckle as your starting quarterback, and I think you're talking about between as your starting quarterback, and I think you're talking about between, as you alluded to earlier, you know, Nick Arbuckle, Trey Ford, Kyle Loxley, Taylor Cornelius, you know, different skill sets from player to player, but you want to make sure that you're building your offensive scheme and managing your play calling in a way that puts whoever's under center in the best possible position to succeed. And I think now that it looks like it's going to be Cornelius for a little while, you may look to tailor some more of those things to him.
Cornelius is now 0-3. Cornelius is now 0-3 against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and 2-8 in his career as a starter. And started right here in a bow from Willie Jefferson to former fans of his who were cheering against him tonight. But he made a big impact once again, as he usually does for this Bombers defense, which was the best unit in this game. That Winnipeg defense made some plays tonight. 5 sacks in the first half on Cornelius.
Yeah, when they did force him into passing situations, they went to town, right? And it speaks in part to why Edmonton would want to run the football and not put Winnipeg in a position to rush their quarterback. Edmonton would want to run the football and not put Winnipeg in a position to rush their quarterback. But yeah, they made the plays that they had to. You talk about bending and not breaking. I think they certainly did that in a game where they dominate time of possession but only managed to score 10 points.
Another loss at home for the Elks. Franchise worst, 11th in a row as the streak continues. At home for the Elks.